And hello, everybody out there in the internet space. I think you should be able to see us and hear us now if all has gone according to plan. So just, give me a yes, we can hear you. Oh, okay, there we go.
I think
Hey, it looks like we're up and running now.
Yep.
Here we are. Hello. How's the volume for everybody? Again, this is a test. This is our first time that we have done this. So, yeah. Hello. Hi, Chris Woodburn. Yes,
Oh
looking
my
and sounding
gosh.
great. Ed Haskell.
Emma.
Yeah.
Emma.
What?
You spelled my name wrong.
Oh my God, I forgot the E. Oh wait. No, it must have gotten cut off. Hold on.
You know
I'm gonna make you.
I forget. No. You have constructed this entire thing. You've been handling so many things that I don't take it personally. It's fine.
I can't believe I didn't even notice that when I made it. And like literally the file is named Clarke Wolfe with an E. Anyway, y'all know Clark's name has an E. I'm a jerk.
Usually I'm the one whose name's misspelled.
I Googled you and you have a Wikipedia article. That's how I double checked that your name was spelled right.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how much of it's true.
I don't know. I don't know how much is true, but yeah. Yeah, sorry all about my misspelling of Clark's name in the lower third. Yeah. So we're up and running here. I've got my glass of wine in, I don't know if y'all can see this. This is from Rachel's birthday / surprise engagement party.
That was a good idea, Emma.
Oh, I whiffed on my own birthday glass, but I do have my Mother of Dragons glass, so that seemed appropriate for today.
I just have a big glass.
Big is good.
Yeah, a big glass is great. I mean,
and our chat has been brought to you by Soleil Black Cherry.
Oh, there we go. Product placement.
Yeah, my bottle of wine is close by, so.
Yep. Oh, it's in within arm's reach. I
spelled Clark's name on the lower third.
Oh, Emma, I'm teasing. You know I do not care.
I know you don't care, but I care.
Well, we're testing things out on this one. We'll update the lower third if we do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll put extra E's in there. It's no big deal.
Hey, alrighty, Kevin Smets is in the chat. Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, hello, everybody in the chat there. I apologize once again to everybody that I can't spell. But here we are all together hanging out on the internet. I was very anxious about getting the stream up and running appropriately. And I did it. So you know what? Points for me. I will drink to myself.
Drink to Emma for getting us off the ground, because we had the idea and we all went, yeah, but I don't know how to do it. So she figured it out.
I did. I even changed my stream key to be my YouTube instead of my Twitch, which is what I have been streaming on. Yeah, fortunately for everybody, I started streaming on my Twitch channel last week because I felt like I needed something
Brienne
to
is
do.
here.
Hi, Brienne.
Hi, Brienne. So I hear your husband shaved his head?
Yes, Brienne's husband did shave his head.
Yeah, we've been marveling at the quarantine things that people have been doing. As Emma was just saying, she's been streaming and doing the Twitch thing, which I still don't understand. But anyway, she's been doing that. And apparently lots of guys out there have been shaving their heads. And
yes.
I haven't been able to wrap my head around exactly why, but it's happening.
Yeah. I put a pink wash in my hair, but it's very subtle. I think it should be a little stronger. So I'm probably going to re-dye it a crazier pink because I still have some pink dye that I've been hanging on to. So yeah. Sweet. Well, thank you to many of you. You tweeted at us earlier and sent some questions our way. to potentially answer. So we'll kind of use those as a jumping off point. And then, of course, in the chat, you're welcome to ask your own questions as well. I do have Streamlabs set up. I heard the test donation go through, so it should all be working. You should hear text-to-speech with it. So, hey, we'll see what happens. But to kick things off here, let's go to, this is a great question and one that we're going to have to kind of sort through, I think, altogether. Eric at Nerd Chronic, who is, of course, our wonderful Schmodown editor.
We love you, Eric.
Yeah, he's amazing. He asks, is there a specific movie you all seem to love equally?
I liked this question too because it made me think there probably is, because we're all genre fanatics. Like we all lean towards like, you know, horror, sci-fi, like cult kind of things. And like I feel like we could work our way to something that we all very much adore.
Okay, I'm gonna throw one out there. How does everybody feel about, this is not really genre, well, maybe it is a little bit, but how does everyone feel about 9 to 5?
Oh, 9 to 5.
Who doesn't love 9 to 5? Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Right.
What?
Whenever I teach screenwriting, 9 to 5 is one of the scripts I use as an example of perfection, because everything that happens in the first half of that movie informs the second half, but it's not up its own ass. It's not too clever by half. The movie, even though it's dated by the technology, I revisit that movie 2 or 3 times a year, and those 3 women are all national treasures. And I've gotten to know the woman who wrote it, Patricia Resnick, which was when I met her. Every time I see her, I'm like, I have asked you trivia about 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is a classic. It's one of the best American comedies ever.
Yeah, the characters hold up. Doesn't matter what decade or, you know, that takes place in. The characters and even that sort of work dynamic still, you know, you can still relate to that these days.
I quote it all the time. I'm always saying, why don't we hire a couple of roughnecks to beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think Back to the Future also, Andreyko, you brought up screenwriting.
Oh, another perfect screenplay.
Exactly, 100%. That was where I was going with that.
I've seen that movie literally hundreds of times, and every time when George cuts in on Malachi from Children of the Corn dancing with Lorraine, and they stop fading, and Earth Angel swells. I mean, I got goosebumps right now. That movie is it's just everything. It's everything in one movie, and it's just a glorious film.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just circling back to 9 to 5 for a second, William Belford in the chat says, how was there never a Fyffe Club 9 to 5 entrance? I feel like that's something that might have happened down the line.
There were many entrance ideas left on the table.
Yeah, that's very true.
Too bad.
Does that mean I would be Mr. Hart, or would I be Roz?
Who would you prefer to be?
Yeah,
I want to be the Xerox machine.
The Xerox machine? I mean, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that kind of leads into another question. This is from LK, who's at Saffron Monsoon 1, asks, what were some costumes, entrance ideas that you guys had that didn't ultimately get done?
Marc, you always wanted to do an Exorcist remake or remix.
Yeah. Marc also wanted to do Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep. Yeah. And specifically Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes.
We'd be the bride.
We had this crazy costume budget.
Yeah, I know, right?
I wish we did. That would have been amazing.
No,
Yeah, I still want to get a fog machine in Schmodown. We need some production amping up there, I think.
Yeah, but Marc, didn't you have a friend that had the wig for the?
Yeah, but it wasn't the wig; it was a full face mask.
Oh,
and one, I get claustrophobic in those things, and 2, I have a giant head, so they're always feeling tight. So I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of guy that if I can't do full costume, I don't want to do it at all. It's got to be great, you know, like because you guys have set the standard that it's like unless it's jankiness as part of the theme, I just don't want to do. I just got a message from Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course you have a fog machine. Yeah. Of course you do.
Yeah. This is not surprising.
Yeah. Let me just make sure that I don't have a meeting limit on this. I don't think
No,
I do. I think
No, that was the thing that popped up. It's
yeah, I
no
think because I
limit.
said no, please extend it. I guess that's because this is kind of meant to be for like people who are working from home right now and having to work together.
Like businesses,
So
yeah.
businesses exactly. So I think
Yeah.
it's all good, honestly.
Scrubman Lowell says, I took an edible. What's a good movie to watch while high?
I mean, there's
Romeo
a
and
lot.
Michelle's high school reunion.
Oh,
Oh,
Romeo and
hi.
Michelle's high school reunion.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
listen,
is an
support it.
amazing film.
Yeah, it's a very
This
good, very good
this will
one.
surprise no one, but anytime I get into the non-alcohol inebriation, I always like movies that are super dark and very serious because
Okay.
they make me laugh. They make me giggle hysterically. One night, and this is for like maybe 3 people ever, but I did a double feature of Lee Daniels' The Paper Boy,
Oh,
which was very fun and funny for the first 2/3, and then it got
Then it-
very
yeah.
dark, and I turned into a different movie. I still love that. You guys know I talk
Mhm.
about The Paperboy. I love The Paperboy, but
Zac Efron
but
and
still,
Tidy Whitey's.
yes,
Mm.
but still, very different movie. Third act, very different.
Yeah.
And then I
Oh,
followed it up by Antichrist. And I tell you what, the opening scene, which is really fucked up. Sorry. Well, we're not on Schmodown, whatever.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's just,
I laughed my ass off when that baby fell out the window. not because that's funny. It's obviously terrible. But
Right.
of course, I was sitting there going, Lars von Trier, of course the baby falls out the window. It was just so ridiculous to me. So I like to watch things that are more like, that I can giggle at the silliness of, as
Yeah.
opposed to, the opposite.
I remember the first time that I was high and watched Labyrinth. And this is a movie that I basically have memorized. I can recite the whole dang thing. But I will say that when I watched it live, all of a sudden I noticed all this stuff in the background that I had never seen before.
yeah.
And also the soundtrack was like really getting to me.
Sometimes those are the best when you can see stuff in the back. There's so much to look at, like not in the foreground.
Yeah.
I went and saw, the first time I took an edible, was when I saw Avatar in 3D in the dome.
Oh my God, that would have sent me out of my mind.
That
And
sounds
that was
kind of
like-
amazing.
That was actually amazing because I was like, I know what it smells like on that planet now.
Yeah. You were like, I'm actually there, you guys. Pandora is real.
If you guys want to watch some really funny videos that are guaranteed to make you laugh, there's this kid. It's called the O'Leary Family Car Ride. This kid does medleys of Broadway show tunes with his mother driving, and his mother is the most deadpan. She's like Beth Grant. They are the funniest things in the world. And he does some Labyrinth stuff, and he also did one that's all Lady Gaga. I've watched those like a mental patient. If you just need to feel good, watch those. They are hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a whole episode about feel-good movies on SJU, and I don't think it has not aired yet. We pre-taped a whole bunch of episodes on my birthday, but it was really interesting to hear people's answers because it wasn't all just mindless comedies. In fact, I don't think any of us answered mindless comedies.
No.
They were thoughtful comedies.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting, the kind of stuff that kind of makes you feel better when shit gets wild, which it sure is right now.
Yeah.
I've been going from disposable comedy to really dark as well. I watched the other night. I watched Night of the Comet, and then I
Oh
followed
my
up with
God,
the
I
band
love
played on-
Night of the Comet.
Oh, it's so good.
I was
So
glancing
good.
over my shoulder at my
Well,
roommate because she loves it too. She's actually the one who discovered it in this household. I just was along for the ride.
So good.
Don't know if you heard her yelling in the background.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's do some more questions here. Oh, this is from our friend, your friend and mine, at Marc Ellis Live. who included a photo of Molly, the wonder dog.
When doesn't he?
Who's the greatest animal in movie history?
I have something kind of appropriate to
Okay.
pick, but only if we're allowed to say television as well.
I think television's allowed.
Does that count? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Greatest
then
animal
the
in media.
Yep. So the answer then is Darwin the dolphin. And the reason, or half the reason this is true is because the amazing Marc Andreyko got me the most amazing birthday presents I've ever gotten in my entire life, which is an entire set of the original character action figures, except for Darwin. So now I'm going to spend the rest of my life looking for that dolphin to complete my set, because you have no idea how much I loved that show as a kid.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a Roy Scheider action figure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you could just cut his head off and make him Bob Fosse.
Oh man, Sequest. That brings me back.
I loved that show so much.
Remember when genre stuff was so rare that it was controversial that Sequest was on opposite Lois and Clark? They're like, they're going to split their audience. And it was like an
yes! I do vaguely remember that because I watched both.
Yep. Back when we still liked Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain.
Yeah. Simpler times. Yeah, I was going to say about best movie animal.
Movie-wise, I would say Toto.
Okay.
There's a lot of dogs to choose from. Yep.
Not Old Yeller, because that one doesn't end well.
Oh, that's just depressing.
Sad.
The Incredible Journey, anybody?
Oh, I remember The Incredible Journey.
Chance, and I'm going to see if I remember. Michael J.
all
Fox
the animals' names in that.
Yeah.
Scott Douglas put Hedwig.
Sassy.
And I instantly thought
Sassy
of the Angry
is
Inch.
the cat. That's right.
No, Hedwig the Owl from Harry Potter.
Yes, I know he meant Hedwig the Owl, but I instantly went to Hedwig, the transgender German singer.
Oh, I knew what you meant.
That's all you need to know about me.
Somebody in the chat said Cujo, great, fantastic.
I mean,
answer.
we don't have to go with like cuddly and nice. We could say Jaws if we really wanted to.
Bruce the shark. Yeah.
Bruce the shark.
Yeah.
The xenomorph.
A xenomorph, sure.
Is xenomorph an animal?
Animal, alien.
I don't know.
We went dark.
Yeah. Yep. Got real dark there.
No, shadow.
Well, because I was leaning towards Jonesy, the cat from Alien.
Yes, that is a very good choice. Yeah, cats. Need cats. Salem, but that's again television.
Yep. And are we talking Puppet Salem?
This is for Clarke Wolfe, Muffin from Friday the 13th Part 2.
What about Precious? Precious!
Oh!
Hurt my dog!
You hurt my dog!
Make me hurt your dog!
She's in a lot of pain, mister!
She's in a lot of pain, mister. I think her leg's broken.
Give me back my dog! Let's do a radio play.
Nightly Silence of the Lambs reenactment. Also, don't forget about Thackeray Binks.
Oh,
yeah, Binks.
Hocus Pocus.
Good. Yep.
Our beloved little black cat.
The talking black cat. There's a theme there. Oh, other cat. Did anybody else see Keanu from a couple of years ago or a few years ago?
I saw Keanu.
That's an adorable kitten in that movie. Adorable.
Yeah. My friend Peter Atencio directed that movie.
I think I have it. The one that trumps everything.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
Babe.
Oh.
Babe the Pig is pretty awesome.
It does send you down a path that makes me think of Charlotte's Web, and then you've got Wilbur and Templeton and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Paul Lynde is the voice of Templeton. Yep.
Commentating nerd in the chat has a vote for Artax.
Oh, sad but true.
Sad but true. And also Haskell 420. I also really liked Benji when I was a kid, and also this weird movie called Milo and Otis, which I'm pretty sure was like a Japanese film.
I remember it too.
They just dubbed over in English.
Yep.
Also, a lot of people say that Rufus looks like Benji.
He does look like Benji.
Do you guys want to, okay, chat, would you like to hear a fun movie story? It will be quick, I promise. So I adopted Rufus in 2013 found him on petfinder.com, then went to the actual adoption and like, you know, met him and took him for a walk and talked to the person who was his original foster person. And the woman who ran the animal rescue told me that a producer actually came in and tried to adopt Rufus to make him the new Benji the same day that I came in, but she decided to give him to me because she didn't want Rufus to have that life.
Oh, whoa.
And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But also, you could have given him my number. Like, we could have worked out a deal where he did a little work. And now all Rufus does is take naps and want belly rubs. He's like not a show dog.
In other
been
words,
watching
he's
on
living the
Instagram.
life.
He's living the life. I think he has a better life. Even though he would have made more money as the new Benji, he definitely, I think, lives a better life now.
Yeah. And yes, I am aware that Milo and Otis was terrible because again, there was no regulation whatsoever. So I know that there were a lot of
kittens or something. They were like,
yeah, a lot of animal deaths, unfortunately.
Oh, have you guys watched Tiger King yet on Netflix?
Oh, I just started watching it last night.
Oh boy,
I watched the whole thing last night because it makes Wild Wild Country and Evil Genius look normal.
It's my
you
God,
guys,
it's amazing.
The last podcast on the left, Side Stories, has been covering Joe Exotic for months. Like they found this story when it first went down, when he was first arrested, and they have been covering it. And then I saw all this stuff about Joe Exotic popping up this weekend, and I was like, what? So I still haven't watched it, but like I was like, wow, that's crazy.
It's insane.
It's so good.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's true. It's just the most bananas thing ever.
It's like if John
nuts.
Waters and David Lynch had a baby and then gave the baby meth.
Yeah.
That would be the show.
Well, and it's so funny too because literally everyone that they're covering the stories of is awful.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's awful. Yeah.
And Joe Exotic is the strangest looking human being I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's so funny to me because I feel like Joe Starr tweeted this out. He's like, how did I not know about him until right now? Like, how did I not experience his YouTube show and all the other like stuff that he was doing?
Last podcast, y'all.
Yeah, I gotta listen to it.
Podcast.
I texted Stephen Ray Morris of Exactly Right Network fame today saying, hey, have you watched Tiger King yet? Either Karen or Georgia needs to cover the murder of Don Lewis, which is covered in the Tiger King docuseries. It's amazing. Can't recommend it enough. It's got everything. Twists, turns. You never know where it's going to go next.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's do another question here. Okay. Oh, okay. This is a good one. This is from Old Boy at DJ_Old Boy asks, if you had to be quarantined with a slasher/horror villain from a movie, who do you pick?
So is the goal to pick somebody that you can avoid dying by? Like what's the goal? Wanting to be quarantined with somebody that's a psychopath or a villain?
It's like you could quarantine yourself with Hannibal Lecter, let's say, and he would probably eat you, but he would also probably learn you a thing or two.
Definitely.
You could have a good conversation first.
Exactly. Or like Pinhead
Mm-hmm.
probably have some very weird sex before he ripped your skin off. Right?
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right. This is where we're going with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying it's a way to think about it. Because like Michael Myers doesn't talk. You're not going to pick Michael Myers.
That's not really
would not
helpful in a
pick Michael
quarantine
Myers.
situation.
Leatherface can cook.
Yeah, Leatherface can cook.
True.
Say the question again, please. Yeah, so the question is, what horror / slasher villain would you want to be quarantined with? Yeah, so my first thought was Jigsaw from the Saw movies. Because I was like, well, it'd be entertaining.
Yeah, he'd make a game of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I would say Chucky.
Oh,
Actually,
Chucky.
that's where my head went to.
Because then you
like,
could lock him in a closet or something.
Mhm.
yeah, you can talk for a while, but you're likely going to be able to keep him from killing you.
Or like
At least for a
Leprechaun.
while. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
same.
Leprechaun.
Yep.
Solve some puzzles
Yeah.
with him, with either the
Yeah.
Jigsaw or Leprechaun.
Christopher Woodburn just said Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
choice.
Okay, but Christopher Woodburn, here's the thing. We saw what it was like to be cooped up with him before he killed you. And he was a dick. Like, I don't know. He's like gonna shame you about your ice cream. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a good one.
But here's
Just
a good
saying.
question. Because William Belford says, Freddy Krueger, you're good as long as you don't go to sleep. But the question is, if you're quarantined with Freddy, does that mean that you're literally in a room with him? Because you can kill him if he's in the real world, you know?
And if he came into the real world and we're in coronavirus quarantine, he's an open sore. He's very susceptible.
Yeah. I'm starting to be sold on this Freddy Krueger thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I pick Hannibal Lecter because he'd make me a nice dinner. He'd teach me some things. He'd probably draw me some art. And then at least my death would be like gorgeous.
That is true.
I would go with Hannibal too, because he wouldn't eat me. Because I'm just like gristle. So
Yeah. Very
the
good
werewolf
question.
priest from
Yeah, I
Silver
like it.
Bullet.
I know you could go classic. Dracula could hang out for a little while.
Dracula.
Yeah.
The
Oh, I'm
vampires
super
from-
down, especially for like Gary Oldman Dracula.
Yeah, exactly. We've come full circle.
Here we go again.
If you don't realize that we love V, now
Yeah.
you know.
I love Bram Stoker's Dracula a whole lot.
You
Funny story about that movie. Dan and Mara included it in their like list of horror movies to watch during October, and Dan had never seen it. So I went over there and I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula with Dan and Mara, and watching Dan watch the movie was a complete joy.
I
love
just
doing
rewatched
that.
it like a couple of weeks ago for the first time in probably 5 years. And I was blown away by, like, it seems to me, because I remember when I first watched it and I
Right.
was like, I don't think this is very good. Like, obviously it's gorgeous, but I was like, I
Right.
don't know. And now as I get older and I just appreciate a big swing, because I truly do, now I'm like, this is my shit. I am
know.
feeling some Bram Stoker's Dracula right now because it's so crazy.
It's so crazy. And it's so
One of the-
funny.
I was obsessed with that movie when it came out. And you know,
Yeah.
Coppola originally didn't want a set. He wanted to do it theatrically with just projections on curtains. And then Sony at the last minute said, that's too weird. Here's $80 million, build set.
It's one of the movies that made me decide I wanted to go to film school. Like, I had this
Aw.
like media professor in my senior year in high school, and I was thinking communications based stuff, but I wasn't really sure. So he had like a film section of the class, and he showed 3 movies that for me sort of opened my eyes to like filmmaking. You know, I loved movies. I grew up on movies,
Sure,
but I never
sure.
thought so much about what went into them and what you could say visually versus dialogue and things like that. So
Yeah.
he showed us Bram Stoker's Dracula. He showed us Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, and he showed us Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. And I credit those 3 films with like just sort of like being kind of eye-opening with like all the point of view shots, like the supernatural ones in Bram's. Like I was like, oh, I'd never paid attention to you could tell a story doing things like that, and it's just so gorgeous. And that's when I was like, that's when I went home and told my family that I was going to major in film, and I'm sure their hearts dropped to, you know, their chests, because that's not the smartest thing to major in.
The
But
only one of the things that I noticed in rewatching it was that everybody likes to just dunk on Keanu Reeves in that movie, and I'm like, he's kind of on the level with everyone, quite
He's
honestly.
doing his best.
Yeah.
And you know what? For the record, look, do I think Keanu Reeves is good in that movie? No. However, his accent is just as good as Winona's.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
Be away from all this death.
I think that Winona is there's something about her performance that's maybe a little better, but
Sure.
accent wise, because a lot of people come down on Keanu for his accent, and I'm like, okay, but they're on the same level here as far as that's concerned.
She is chewing the scenery, like in every scene she's in.
She's also distractingly gorgeous.
She's
like
so beautiful.
I mean, like, to the point
Her
where
costumes,
I was like,
it's not fair.
like, I was like, I'm forgiving a lot because
Yeah.
she is just stunningly beautiful.
Yeah,
And
she's great.
If I had crazy money, wouldn't you wear any of the costumes in that movie every day if you could?
Any of them.
It's
That
that's why
armor, that kimono he has with the kabuki hair. Hell, I'd even wear the Winona's dresses. They're amazing.
Yeah. I had also forgotten that, like, Carrie Elwes was in the movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that.
And Billy Campbell, the Rocketeer.
Yeah, Billy Campbell. And Richard E. Grant?
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, are those the suitors?
And Tom Waits.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Tom Waits is unbelievable in that
The best
movie.
Renfield ever.
Oh, my God. Yes. 100%.
I think it's the first thing I ever saw Monica Bellucci in too. That I
Oh,
could
right.
yeah.
I might have seen things older, but like just in talking
Have you ever
about studying a gorgeous person.
The Monica Bellucci film?
No, I don't think I've seen it.
It's by the director of Cinema Paradiso. It's a really, really great film. It takes place in an Italian village during World War II. And she's just one of the most beautiful women who's ever walked the earth.
I think so too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yep. Well, now that we've gone on that nice Bram Stoker's Dracula tangent, let's see. Okay, let's do. I guess this question is mostly for Clarke and Rachel, and it's more Schmodown specific. This is from James Jacob Ashcroft at @pro_Ashcraft. A team y'all never got to play that you wish you could have.
Like teams of the era?
I think it's just any is fair game.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Well, the obvious answer for me is I never got to play Dan in any way, shape, or form. So would have been whatever team. I mean, I don't think he was retired when I was kind of in the middle of my like heyday on the show. So like we weren't able to cross paths for a while. We were on this desk at the same time for the first free for all, but I think that's the only time I was ever I played him. So it would have been nice to play him in some shape or form, most likely Founding Fathers, but
as a person who has played Dan and had my ass kicked by Dan many times, I would never want to play Dan Merle again, but maybe if the two of us were together. The one that everybody points to for me is Roca. I never played John Roca as a team or as singles, but I'm fine with that as well, because it's like, it's just so... I don't have any regrets about teams like we did or didn't play, because it's so of the moment. It's so like where your head is at a given time that I don't really have that type of approach to the Schmodown, if that makes sense. So I don't really have any regrets, but I know the one that people talk about with my career is Roca.
Is that you never played him?
Yeah. Well, it's flattering in a way, because basically they're the scenarios that the fans like to debate and talk about with these kinds of things is that they wanted to see the best play the best all the time. They wanted the big main players to be able to play each other as often as possible, which, is fun, but it also, you want to leave the room for the rookies and the new guys and the new, the dynamics to shift and change the way that the show has, for sure.
I will tell you that when I played Marc Riley to go to the singles championship, and there was a little controversy, at least as far as I was concerned, with the wedding planner brown M&Ms question. And I believe that game between me and Marc Riley was a 1-point game. And, if it wasn't a 1-point game, it was a 2-point game. You know what I mean? It was like one of the, but I'm pretty sure it was a 1 point. And I was pretty upset the way that whole brown M&Ms thing went, But I will say that obviously after that, Mark Riley played John Roca for the belt, and Riley won. And I was there for him. Like, he was his team. I was his teammate, and I was so proud of him. But I was in the audience that day keeping score. And I absolutely would have won that match, right? But once again,
right,
if you asked me to play Roca, you know, like at the end of my career as a player, I don't know how good that would have been. Like, you know, sometimes you just like, it's the timing, it's all those things. So,
yeah. While we're on the topic of Dan and Roca, who both came up in this discussion, Nate M asked me specifically, Emma, would you say Dan and Roca are Goku and Vegeta? I mean, I guess so, in that, like, they're both OP and sort of rivals, but also team up with each other. Of those two, I mean, Dan would definitely be Goku and Roca would be Vegeta, just personality-wise. Great question.
Emma, can I jump in real fast?
Sure.
Because Anthony Gonzalez asked, is there a recommended viewing order for the Conjuring franchise?
You've come to the right place.
Ooh, yeah, I know. Clarke, this one's all you.
Yes.
Well, and Andreyko, I don't know if you have feelings about this as well. I don't know where you're at with that franchise.
I would say part 1 and then part 2, and you're good.
Okay. So I would also say watch part 1, part 2, and then I will give a fun little for the third in your marathon hat tip to Annabelle Comes Home, aka Annabelle in the Basement. I had fun. Emma agrees.
I totally agree. Yeah, Annabelle in the Basement.
Yeah, that one's super fun. Yeah,
yeah.
I think the mothership, those two are both pretty equal as far as being great. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a good dessert aperitif one, because that one is insanely fun.
Yeah.
It's like Amblin-esque, and you get a little werewolf action.
Mm-hmm.
What? As a super nerd, when that werewolf came on the screen, because I'll tell you what, this is not spoilies. If you pay attention to the Conjuring franchise, you know that the rumor was for Conjuring 3 that they might be doing this werewolf possession case. That was in the Warrens case files. And I was like, yes, set in the 80s. Like, let's change this up a little bit. We don't need demonic possession with a family again.
Yeah.
But then when the werewolf was in Annabelle in the Basement, I was like, like that means we're not going to get it in Conjuring 3. And I was sad, but it was still good.
I see here Haskell 420 is asking about, as much as I love A Christmas Story, I can't do the 24-hour marathon. Do you know why A Christmas Story is on TNT for 24 hours? They used to show It's a Wonderful Life because they thought it was public domain, and they found out it wasn't. And TNT's like, what Christmas movie do we have that we own the rights to? So this was a learned behavior. This was not an organic cult discovery. This was like, you're going to watch this movie every Christmas. I enjoyed the movie. In fact, I'm in it. But yeah.
Wow. Let's see. In the chat, the Blair, well, we're cursing on this stream. It's fine. The Blair Bitch Project asks, if you could only watch one movie for a month quarantine period, which movie would you choose? They would pick Groundhog Day.
It's appropriate.
Yeah, it's very appropriate.
No,
so it's one movie for the rest of quarantine.
It's the only movie you can watch for the rest of quarantine.
Friends, I have a legitimate answer for you.
I'm ready.
So I ordered a couple of Blu-rays when all this stuff was looking like it was going down, because I do not subscribe to Disney Plus. And I noticed that Thor Ragnarok had been taken off Netflix. So I ordered my Blu-rays. I ordered Jojo Rabbit, which I was going to buy like the second I saw Jojo Rabbit. I was like, no, I need to own this and have this and always, and I'm going to hug it and go to sleep with it. And then Guardians, the first Guardians, I was like, okay, I need to own this. And then I bought Thor Ragnarok. You guys, I have watched it twice since Friday.
I believe it. It's great.
It just makes me so happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I am filled with joy. And I just, so my answer, legitimately, in the last 3 days, I have watched Thor Ragnarok twice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mine might be either The Rocketeer or Galaxy Quest.
Oh my God, those
Such
are
good
both
choices.
such good picks.
Because those are both
damn it.
fun, thrilling movies, and they have
Yes.
so much heart and so much emotion and so much
Oh my
soul and
God.
humanity to them.
I was going to say Clueless, which I still might
That's
pick.
a good one.
But you mentioned Galaxy Quest, and I freaking love Galaxy Quest.
There's not a false note in Galaxy Quest.
No, there's not.
The fact that a Tim Allen movie is that good
Yes.
is insane. That movie, I think that movie is just as good as Back to the Future as far as structure. It's so smart, but you don't need to know Star Trek to enjoy it. And if you
No,
do,
not at all.
It's such a funny movie.
Yeah. Rachel?
Well, it's going to surprise absolutely nobody when I say The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes.
but a close second, and I know Emma will feel me on this one,
Yes.
is still my absolute favorite Jane Austen adaptation is the Ang Lee Sense and Sensibility. And I can watch that thing over and over and give me the Alan Rickman all day, every day.
Good.
It's just so good.
It's so good. Mark Ellis in the chat asks.
Mark Ellis is here. We love
in
Mark
the house.
Ellis.
I'm on
Buy
Mark
tickets to see him
first.
at markellis.com, right?
Apologies again. I told the chat earlier I misspelled Clark's lower third. I was stressed about this all technology working, and
we leave Emma alone.
Yeah, we know. She got this up and running.
This.
Yep.
So Mark
He
Ellis
just showed up.
asks, you're on a desert island and can only bring one lifetime supply of an alcoholic beverage. What do you bring? Clark.
This is so easy. I was just going to say wine. I mean,
Specifically,
that specifically.
Demetria Rosé. I have only 6 bottles left of this.
Oh no!
For the record.
Only
You
6
guys,
bottles.
this is serious business. This is my favorite rosé. Rachel served it at her wedding, or I'm sorry, her birthday party.
Yeah,
It'll be at the wedding too.
Clark,
if I
I
have
wanna get
anything
you
to
one of
say about
those-
it.
I want to get Clark one of those hard hats where you put the wine bottles in with the straws.
This is legit. The DC Daily cast calls me Clarke Wolfe Rosé all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like their texts to me have an accent over Clarke. It's become a real thing. I love a rosé. So
Yes,
that is
does
my
love
answer.
rosé.
I do. That is my answer.
Well, I'm going the wine route as well, but I'm going to go a Cabernet if I can only have one for the rest of the time.
I was going to say the cab that you had at your birthday party was
very good.
Real nice.
Yep. I have one bottle of it left, and I will save a bottle of Demetria, and when this is all said and done and we can all get together face to face, we will kill those bottles.
I'm in.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
I would probably go Grey Goose.
It's a good standard. You can do a lot with it.
And it's one of those hard liquors that you can actually drink and sip, and it has flavor. I know why rich people drink top shelf alcohol, because it's like good coffee. It tastes good.
Yeah.
You understand why people can drink it straight. Like my whole young adult life was tequila just didn't taste very good unless it was part of a margarita, something like that. But then I actually tasted top shelf tequila, and then you see people actually just sipping it straight. And
tequila is really good, and it makes a difference even when you're having a margarita. I bought a organic margarita, not organic margarita, an organic tequila blanco from the liquor store yesterday. That's like an Austin import. I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to get the bottle. But it's really good.
All right, I don't know who's manning the Schmodown Entertainment Network feed. I don't know if that's Christian behind there or what. But somebody wants to know who the lightweight on the Fyffe Club is.
It's not me.
Probably me, because I'm more of a stoner than a drinker. I did all my drinking in high school and college, so I have a couple of cocktails, and I'm like a girl at her bachelorette party at a gay bar.
Yeah. But of the wine drinkers, it might be me, because I always think that I'm stronger and tougher and I'm fine, this is fine. And then boom, I'm going to take a nap outside.
I don't know if that's what it is, Clark, or that you just get to a point and don't stop. I think I'm not trying to say.
No, because I think it's because I'm like, no, I'm fine. And
Yeah.
woo.
So
I'm
it's
not
I'm fine until you're not, and
Until you're
not
not
is
fine,
like
right.
all the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we were Emma, I know you were there. Rachel, were you
Yes.
there when we were with Grace and we got in the back of Grace's car? And
Oh boy.
Emma, do you remember this?
I do remember it. Yeah.
So we were with, who was there? Weren't we with another person, or was it just the three of us?
I'm
Might
trying
have
to
been just the
think.
three of us.
I think it maybe was just the three of us.
Okay, so the three of us went out. It was me, Emma, and Grace Hancock, who we love. And Grace drives an SUV.
She does have an SUV.
She's not a big drinker. So she was definitely okay to be a DD. And so she's like, I'll just drive you guys home, because Emma and I live really
around
close
the corner
by.
from each other.
Exactly. So we can walk.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll just drive you guys home. And so I was like, okay. And I proceeded to open the front passenger door and fix the seat and push the seat forward and climb into the back.
Were we?
And I think we were at El Tejano or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But either way, I thought Grace had a 2-door SUV.
It was so funny.
She did not.
She did. She like full pushed the seat down to climb into the back of the car. And we're like, girl.
And Emma and Grace just stood there watching.
Of course, no, you don't stop that in action. You watch that happen.
And then I realized immediately, and I was like, oh my God, that was the dumbest thing ever.
Wine.
Anyway,
That's what it'll do. Wine.
Anyway,
Let's see.
whatever.
I was gonna say, people in chat are saying, can I add Christian to the oh, okay, you're watching in the comfort from your own home, the Fyffe Club reunion. Yeah, Christian, if you ever want to, though, I know how to do it. I am becoming a master.
Emma's the girl. Don't ask the rest of us. Ask Emma.
I'm becoming a master of online streaming. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, guys,
real good.
Despite misspelling Clarke's name.
One hiccup. One.
It's
one
tricky.
hiccup.
Those,
Okay.
You know what? Those E's sneak right up on you. So just not a big deal. Not a big deal.
I have so many E's in my. Well, I guess we have the same amount of E's in our names, because I have an E at the beginning and an E at the end, and you have an E at both ends.
Yes.
So yeah.
Are you sure
I
you guys
could
aren't
listen.
strong?
I could, Emma. I could
Yes, Clarke.
if you wrote me a check like that, I could still cash it. So we're good.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yep.
So here's a question for the room and for
Yes.
people streaming. Of all the movies that are going to be delayed, if they all came out the same day when we're allowed to be outside again, what movie are you looking forward to? What's the first one you would see? And I will go. Mine is
I
Wonder
know what
Woman
yours is.
1984.
Of course, it's
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean, how is it not?
What else are we? I mean, obviously
we
Black
need to-
Widow.
Yeah.
Like, what are we missing? Because Wonder Woman 1980 or Wonder Woman 84 is what springs to mind.
Well,
but
James Bond, it's Cary Fukunaga who directed it.
yeah, I don't care.
As someone that's very into James Bond, I might say that. I have to tell you, I am honestly
Mulan.
extremely disappointed about Mulan. Yes.
Yes. That's
know
such
that's
a
a lot
good
of-
one.
There's a lot of people upset about Fast and the Furious because that's like been pushed a year.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
pushed it to
necess-
the fall. Well,
Yeah.
You know
we were
what?
talking
Just
earlier.
watch them again. They're all the same movie.
All right, I'll brought up the list. So
Oh, New Mutants. First of all,
Oh my God. Is that
poor
movie ever gonna happen?
I don't think it's ever
That-
going to see the light.
that
of day.
movie is crazy cursed. But wouldn't it be amazing if that movie comes out and makes $1 billion and is actually good?
I hope it does.
I hope
liked
it's,
the
I hope
trailer.
it's great. Lockheed the Dragon is in the movie, so I'm instantly excited for it.
I'm going to hop off for just a second,
No
having
problem.
a quick little Rufus thing. I'll be right back.
You got it. You can deal with Rufus.
Got to take up with the pop. All right,
Yeah.
so it's starting in May. We'll go. Okay.
Haskell 420, Wonder Woman is not coming out. They've canceled.
They've
the
already
release.
pushed it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have it on the schedule yet, but it's been taken off the schedule.
Yeah. They have. I think that they might have a slot in like November, December, which would be a good fit for that movie anyway.
Oh, we need
they'll probably be okay.
Need that movie.
Yeah, I agree. There's the new Pixar movie, Soul. There's the new Top Gun movie,
Christian
In the
says
Heights,
Top Gun,
Ghostbusters, Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise looks watchable. It would not be my first pick.
Oh, the Bill and Ted movie is supposed to be August. So I don't know how far we push for this, but I honestly, Wonder Woman's the biggest one of all of this stuff that I mean, the Pixar, the Soul, a lot of people will probably be kind of upset out.
Soul can only be better than Onward. Onward.
I didn't see it yet, but I apparently can rent it. So
mediocre, inspired. Ugh.
I feel like it should be right up my alley because it's so like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, me too.
But it's not. It's not. It's the blandest, most indescribably just mediocre movie. It's really shocking.
Tenet. Tenet's a big one.
Tenet. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd be upset, but but Tenet, honestly, none of those top Wonder Woman for me.
From the cat's point of view, West Side Story is intriguing because I think that's going to be it. I just don't know why that movie needs to exist.
Nobody knows.
And Ansel Elgort, can we just stop? Stop.
I actually
cameo by Sam.
There he is in the background.
doing his best Benny Hill tribute.
A little bit, because everyone saw that video.
Hi, Sam.
I want to say hello to the peoples.
Every time I say hi, Sam, I think of Clarissa Explains It All.
Exactly
I love it. I'm totally fine with that.
You're correct.
Yeah. So far, because it's coming out in December, my most anticipated movie of the year is still looking okay, which is the Denis Villeneuve Dune.
Oh my God! How can I forget Dune?
But that seems safe. I feel like by December, God, hope we are back in business.
So too.
Oh, Scott Douglas, Baby Driver does not rule. Baby Driver is one of the single most overrated films I've ever seen in my entire life, and I love.
He's not the
Edgar
bear
Wright.
Jew.
He's not at all.
That's fine. I'm not even reading that.
I was like, where'd my wine glass go?
I liked Baby Driver very much, so we do not see eye to eye on that, but you're entitled to your wrong
That's
opinion.
cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. You're allowed to be wrong.
Yep.
Sam, we should play Heads Up on this stream.
Oh my God. Well, if you want to hear us all scream at the top of our lungs because we're trying to talk over each other.
I know. My favorite Heads Up story ever, though, was we were playing at Sam's, and it was Rachel, myself, and my roommate, Lola, doing Game of Thrones Heads Up. And Sam was just like, it's like you're not even speaking English.
Yeah.
At that time, you were correct. At that time.
Yes, at that time. This was over a year ago.
It was like I was watching you suddenly play around entirely in Greek.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And you know how you told this story about loving to watch. So she went over to Dan and Mara's house to watch Bram Stoker's Dracula with them during their 30 days of Halloween. And Dan had never seen it before. So it's more fun to watch the person who's never seen it before than it is to watch it again. So that was the entirety of the first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones. We watched them together, and I just watched him
Sam
watch it because I have seen them so many times. It was hysterical.
It was fun too as a book reader, up to the point that they were just dealing with material that was in the books, to watch your friends who had not read the book watch the show. Like, I remember the episode I knew the Red Wedding was coming.
Oh my God. Everybody was just filming their friends. It was like the reaction video storm of like, I know what's coming. You have no idea what's coming. Let me film you.
Oh man.
Oh, if you guys who's seen The Invisible Man?
Oh, I just watched it.
Not yet. Well, we know we can rent it, so
we're gonna rent it.
Yeah, you should.
I really love that.
I've heard really good things.
I thought what's his name? Lee Wanell really leveled up as a director. It's a beautifully directed film.
We just watched an
what
episode
I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. We just watched an episode of Mad Men on TV, and like I just love her so much.
Yeah, she's
so
good.
Such a good actress. So
There's a scene in Invisible Man where she's talking to a lawyer in this, and that's all I'm going to give. But she has no makeup on at all, and the camera is right there, and she's got blemishes and burst blood vessels, and not an ounce of makeup. And it's like it's so real and so raw. And it's like how many actors of her caliber would have the confidence to do that. And it's just because it instantly makes you instantly relate to her. You instantly like her because she's so human. She's so good. It's almost annoying.
She's an insanely good actress. It's so funny because of all these movies that are getting delayed. I've seen a bunch of tweets and stuff out there of people saying, congratulations to Elizabeth Moss on her Best Actress win.
Yeah, right.
The only movie that's come out this year.
Right, because unless the Academy changes their rules finally. Yeah. It's hard to think that it literally takes a global pandemic.
I know.
The Academy to realize, hey, maybe we're stuck in our ways.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for Will Smith and Martin Lawrence to share their Oscar for Best Actor.
Oh, no.
Yikes.
Like Barbara Streisand and
Katharine Hepburn.
Katharine Hepburn. Yeah.
That was what? That was Funny Girl and Lion in Winter?
Lion in Winter, yep. The only time I think an Academy Award for an acting was shared.
Oh, poor little Rufus.
He can't take the schmo down out of a girl.
This is what we do. This is all we do all day. For those watching and wondering what life in this house is like, it's like that all day. It's very warm in here. Are you warm?
You're always warm.
No, you're warm. All right, excuse me. I have to cool down.
I don't understand this question from Rockin' Movies with Tyler. Okay, so Birds of Prey versus Suicide Squad, who makes it out? Like, just in
just in terms of the two groups if they went up against each other?
I mean, Birds of Prey, obviously.
Well, especially because Harley is clearly on the Birds of Prey side of that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, she discovered female empowerment and how it's great to have lady friends supporting you. That's what the whole movie was about. I don't know. I loved Birds of Prey personally. It was a blast.
I enjoyed it too. I think they shot themselves in the foot by having it be R.
And having it be R. Yeah, it's funny because I saw it and I thought this is a rated R movie that my parents would have let me see when I was 13 or 14.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it was just the F word. That was if you remove them all the cursing, it's less violent than Dark Knight. So
yeah, I
will take out a couple of those bone cracking sound effects and you take out the swears, and that's a perfectly legitimate PG-13 movie.
I don't understand, especially because Suicide Squad was PG-13, which I actually had to look up. I thought for some reason that Suicide Squad was R, but it's not. And so I was really surprised when I finally saw Birds of Prey. Only because if you go to conventions or you're out and about like we are, you see so many little girls dressed as Harley, like little girls, not like 15, 16-year-olds, you know? And I thought like, yeah, they should be able to see this movie if their parents are cool with them seeing a PG-13 movie. So I did think that was kind of a drag that, you know, because it didn't seem like it had to be R.
They didn't utilize R. Like the best equation or the best example I can say is like Logan was rated R and it used it correctly. Like absolutely. I can't imagine that movie not being rated R.
Light R.
Yeah, it's a why make it R and then exclude all those ticket buyers.
Yeah, I mean, because my parents let me watch like, I don't know, the first rated R movie I think I ever saw was probably Terminator 2, Judgment Day. But I was 10 probably when I saw that movie. Yeah. You know, my parents would have absolutely taken me to see it in the theater if I were 10 when it came out, which I was not. But yeah, it's interesting when you kind of alienate a group of people that would genuinely, I think, really enjoy that movie because again, 13, 14-year-old me, I mean, 33 at the time year old now, me loved it when I saw it in the movie theater. It was extremely my shit. But I would have definitely liked it when I was younger than I am now.
That's a typical Warner Brothers thing, though. They either market the hell out of a movie in a brilliant way or the movies just are dead. I mean, both Dr. Sleep and Birds of Prey were certified fresh. Both of those movies were, I thought, very enjoyable. In fact, I really liked Dr. Sleep. I thought it was one of the best movies of last year.
Yeah, it was really good.
And no one saw it. And I was like, how do you have these reviews and the Stephen King brand and coming out of it, and how do you not make this work? And the same with with Harley and the Birds of Prey. It was just like, it felt like they were doing the ad campaign from Suicide Squad, and I'm like, no, you don't want to do that.
And I was just gonna say, you want to distance yourself from that movie as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Commentating nerd in the chat says they're gonna have an egg sandwich tomorrow morning, but they don't have bacon, unfortunately. I for sure had a bacon, egg, and cheese for breakfast this morning. I have all the right ingredients for it. Actually, I filmed a video with my friend Brenna, who is a chef, on how to make the perfect bodega breakfast egg and cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese. So that will come out on Tuesday now when the movie is dropping on digital. So be sure to look for that. It'll be here on this YouTube channel.
Nice.
Let's see. Everyone is talking about their first rated R movie in the chat. And this is actually a real life conversation I had with Marc Ellis one time, which is, what was the first rated R movie you ever saw? And what was the first rated R movie you ever saw in the movie theater?
Yeah, because that's probably two different things.
Yeah, totally.
The first rated R movie I saw in the theater was Friday the 13th. I was 10 and a half years old, I guess.
I know what mine is.
And I had read Famous Monsters magazine did a synopsis of it with all the pictures, and Jason from the bottom of the lake is on the cover. And I begged my mother, and she said, if you get straight A's, I'll take you to see it. And I got straight A's. So me and my mom went and saw a Saturday matinee of Friday the 13th. And that's part of the reason why I love that franchise so much.
Yeah. Do you remember the first one you ever saw at home?
I think the first one I ever saw at home, might have been The Shining. On cable, because back in the early 80s, no one had HBO. It was like in big cities only, and my cousins had it. And I got to watch The Shining at like 2 a.m. on a big TV, and it would just be like, oh, amazing.
Yeah. I just punched my
Rachel?
microphone. Sorry about that, y'all.
It's hard for trying to remember. I mean, Emma might have actually hit it with Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen it in the theater, but I would have. My parents probably did, and then like when it came out in video, like a year or so later, I would have been like, I don't know, like 12 or 13. So that seems likely. And then in the theater, I actually want to say it was Shawshank, but I'm not 100%. I think it was like a drama. Like I don't think it was necessarily like genre or something like that. But maybe Braveheart. So I was like 14, 15. So I was trying to sneak in around that. But I would say something from 94, 95.
Yeah.
The big movies.
The first one I ever saw, as I say, was Terminator 2. I used to think it was Speed. But I definitely saw Terminator 2 before I ever watched Speed, because I remember watching Speed being like, yeah, I'm watching a rated R movie, not realizing I had already watched a rated R movie probably dozens to maybe hundreds of times, because I loved Terminator 2 when I was a kid. Like, we had action figures of like T-1000 and of the Terminator.
Nice.
But anyway, the first one I saw in the movie theater was Shakespeare in Love. And I remember that.
That's rated R. That's another weird one.
Another weird one. Why is it rated R? You see boobs one time.
You know what?
You see boob in profile.
Yeah.
Not even full on boobs. Boob in profile.
Yeah. Yeah, it did not need to be rated R.
Somebody's asking, sex is rated worse than
Vlogger, have you been to America?
Yeah, in America, rated R was far more.
I'd rather our children watch someone get chopped in half than people make love.
Well, it's so interesting because I was saying on SJU one time that, and I mean, you definitely see boobs in this show. There's a lot of sex in it, but I look at the show Sex Education on Netflix, which if you have not watched it, it is unbelievable. That
Gillian
show
Anderson is a goddess.
I want her to be in everything.
Everything, yeah.
But anyway,
she managed to like. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, Sex Education is unbelievable. It's a perfect show. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I watch it and I think, man, I wish that I had had a show like this when I was a teen. And
it's a show that you can watch with your kids.
Yes, my parents would have let me watch it.
That's a show you could watch that deals with sexuality in a frank, beautiful way.
It's so good.
And it's so funny. And Asa Butterfield is so lovable and perfectly cast the lead. It's another one of those shows on Netflix that I stumbled across, and I stayed up till 4 a.m. watching like 7 of them in a row.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I started watching it when I was really sick, and I just fell in love with it. It's so good. But yeah, so again, Shakespeare in Love doesn't need to be rated R. But I remember my mom asked another friend of hers who'd already seen it, hey, it's rated R. Emma really wants to see it. Is it okay? And she had a hard time coming up with why it was rated R. So, yeah. The first rated R movie I ever saw, like, legally that I bought myself a ticket for was... What's the second Matrix movie? Matrix Reloaded?
Reloaded.
I had like just turned 17 when that movie came out.
I know it's not quite the same thing, but like you have very specific memories of like the first like watching Speed and it being rated R. For me, the first PG-13 for me was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Because
Amazing.
You don't understand how much like Robin Hood, like when I was 10 years old, I read every version I could get my hands on, the lore, the myth. I love so much. Kevin Costner was me and my mom's favorite actor at the time. So it came out in 91. I was 11 and my mom is like, I'm going to go see it. And if I think it's okay, then I will take you to see it. Yeah. And so she did, and she deemed it was fine. And so at 11, I got to go see a PG-13 movie with my mom, and it was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And I know it's not a good movie, but my 11-year-old self loved it.
It's not a good movie, Rachel.
I cannot describe.
Do you remember the other Robin Hood that was supposed to come out that Fox made at the time? They ended up premiering on TV with Patrick Bergen and Uma Thurman. Fox was doing their own
vaguely
Robin Hood movie, and they were going to release it theatrically, and it was like that Jungle Book situation recently. And Kevin Costner's came out first, and it's a much darker one. It's not bad. It's not a bad version.
I think I've seen it because I am very much like Rachel, that when I was a kid, I was really obsessed with Robin Hood, which of course all started with being in love with Disney's Robin Hood, where Robin Hood is a fox.
He's a fox.
Literally. Yeah, literally a fox. Everyone's a furry. It's just a fact of life. But yeah, I had a real obsession with Robin Hood as well, and I used to read like the various legends about Robin Hood and stuff like that.
One, right?
What's that?
You've seen The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Oh my God. Well, that's exactly
Errol
right.
Flynn?
Oh yeah.
I saw that. They showed that at the Dome years ago, and seeing it at the Dome was insane.
I know.
Yep.
And you know, the guy that plays Friar Tuck in that is the father of Alan Hale Jr., who played Skipper on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, that's right.
His dad plays Friar Tuck. No, Little John. Sorry, Little
John. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's so good.
Yeah, I was the nerdy kid that loved all the Robin Hood stories and all the King Arthur stories. So you can better believe a version of both of those.
What was the second one you said, Rachel?
King Arthur. I used to read like all.
Excalibur. I still know the charm of making.
Oh yeah. I just remember the scene in Excalibur where they're like hooking up and
he's got his armor.
He's in his full armor.
Like a little garage door opener down there.
Yeah, it was a little lost on me when I was younger. But now you watch it and you're like, wait a second.
Patrick Stewart has hair in that movie.
Helen Mirren is Morgana. And it's like, yes, it's crazy. I love that movie.
I went as Nicol Williamson, King Arthur, a couple years ago for Halloween.
Oh.
I painted my head silver, like that helmet he had.
Yeah. How's Rufus, Clarke?
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Rufus, for those who have asked, he's fine. He just has seizures every now and again, and usually they're light. And I thought that when I disappeared the first time, I thought that he had just a little tiny one. But then I realized he was having a little bit of a more intense one. But the good news is they're not grand mal, you know, and he's just casually epileptic. So sure. But no, he's doing okay. So thank you. Sorry for disappearing for a minute.
Oh, you're fine.
No worries.
Hey,
We're just hanging out. This
Fur
isn't
babies.
formal
Yeah.
by any stretch of the
I'm glad that
imagination.
I'm glad that
We
I
just
came
kept
in
drinking.
right at the Robin Hood talk, because
Yes.
you guys know how I feel about Men
Prince
in
of-
Tights.
Men in
Yep, this girl right here.
Yep.
That's my jam.
What
Carrie
kind
always.
of led to it was we were talking about, so Rachel said that was the first PG-13 movie she saw in the movie theater. But what I was asking everyone was, what was the first rated R movie you saw and first one you saw in theaters?
Yeah, I think the first one that I remember seeing was was either was Carrie / The Exorcist,
Sure.
because it scarred me for life. That's why I remember it. But the first one that I went and saw in the theaters is kind of a fun, like, nerdy story, because my birthday is April 12th, and usually right around that time, an R-rated horror movie comes out. And for whatever reason. And so the year that I turned 17 was the year that Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses came out. So you better believe that I asked my friends, a handful of friends, to go see House of a Thousand Corpses for my birthday.
God.
And I enjoyed it, but a couple other people in my group did not. Understandable. But that was the first rated R movie that I bought a ticket to, was House of a Thousand Corpses.
Dang.
Yeah. Hardcore with the Rob Zombie.
Very hardcore. Great maze at Halloween Horror Nights, at least last
Great
year.
maze.
Really great.
Excellent mazes.
Super fun.
Super good mazes, that guy.
Yeah. Chris Woodburn, I didn't see your question in the chat, so ask it again, you know? We're just hanging here and answering your questions. Let's see. Preston Bryant says, did you know when Shawshank first came out, it got bad reviews because the prisoners were portrayed too humanely? Yeah, there's a lot of people that complain about, like, oh, we're humanizing these people, but I don't know, they're still people.
Yep, it seems
you guys
even
know
in 1994 people will find things to complain about for pretty much any movie that comes out.
Yep.
Fun
A
fact.
fictional one.
So you guys want to hear some tea?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's not really tea. I say that dramatically. It's not. So I just did this really fun piece for IMDb. That was our dating deal breakers.
Oh, I saw that.
Yes. So me and a counterpart made up or picked 3 movies and went back and forth, and we didn't tell each other what the movies were. So it was a surprise. We were hearing them on the day. And one of my movies I knew was going to get nixed. And so I actually came with a third option because I knew that was going to happen. And my dating deal breaker movie that I knew was going to get nixed was The Shawshank Redemption. Because
you don't like it.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's like the worst thing ever, but if Shawshank is like your favorite movie of all time, no disrespect, Labyrinth is my favorite movie of all time.
Too.
So like, there's no judging here.
No, yeah.
But also I'm kind of like, no, I don't think we're going to be like romantically compatible.
Yeah.
If Shawshank is your favorite movie.
Okay.
But because it is so, it's like the #1 movie on IMDb.
I know, people love that movie.
And so I was like, I probably am not going to be able to go with this.
You and me both, Clark.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. But
my problem with that movie is it's called The Shawshank Redemption. In the book, when Tim Robbins gets out of prison, he finds the gun. Or when Morgan Freeman gets out of prison, he finds the gun. Tim Robbins did murder his wife and her boyfriend. Hence, he was redeemed in prison. That it takes, the movie's not about redemption. And I hate aerial crane shots.
That's true.
Because in the movie, the whole deal is that he didn't really do it, but it was like something questionable happened, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The
deliberately ambiguous in the movie.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
A dating deal breaker for me, I had a conversation about this with some friends, I think while we were rewatching this movie, and this has more to do with if you feel whatever middle of the road about it, that's fine. But if you like actively hate the movie The Last Jedi and think that Rian Johnson ruined Star Wars, we cannot date.
Get out. Nope.
Yeah.
We can't be friends if you think that.
Yeah.
What if you never saw The Last Jedi?
That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
And if you're somebody that didn't like love it because you just don't love Star Wars in general,
that's different.
That's fine too.
That's
it's
totally
the people
different.
that are like, it ruined what happened before and it's so too out of left field and those characters would never do that.
Nah.
That's not true.
It's not true at all. Not true.
It's actually fantastic character development. And Rian Johnson is one of my favorite. Like, I really like his movies, but I just love him. He's so cute and so humble.
He's adorable.
He just wants to make movies. And like, I saw a Q&A screening of Knives Out with him, and he was just geeking out during the Q&A about how much he loved the genre and how he wanted to pay it respect and homage, and to be able to work with all those ridiculous A-list actors, and how much fun he had and how grateful he I want people to be like you in the world.
No, he's great.
That's just my little I love Rian Johnson rant.
Yeah. He had poor cufflinks at the Oscars.
Oh. Okay, can I tell a quick Rian Johnson story? Please?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course.
So,
I love Rian Johnson.
Mild spoilies for Knives Out? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's been out for a while, but it's not really it's kind of a spoiler. Okay, so I'm just telling you.
You've been warned, so leave.
Yeah, so just leave it from
like
that.
30 seconds.
But like, honestly, I'm telling you, it's like mild when it comes to this. Okay.
Sure.
So I didn't get to see Knives Out until after Christmas. It had been out for over a month. And I had avoided spoilers and stuff like that and whatever. I follow Rian Johnson on Twitter. So I went onto his Twitter profile. Now, everybody obviously was talking about Chris Evans and his sweaters, right?
Yes.
So I go on, that had been a thing since before the movie came out. So I go on to Rian Johnson's Twitter, I click on his actual Twitter page, and the banner photo of his Twitter page was Christopher Reeve from Death Trap.
Yes.
Oh.
Wearing a big chunky sweater.
Amazing.
Now, I'm not gonna say for those handful of theater nerds who happen to be on this call or movie nerds,
couple of us
who know what that means from Death Trap, the random movie in the 80s with Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve, based on a play by Ira Levin,
directed by Sidney Lumet.
Yes.
Just the crazy part.
I see that
And
photo.
Diane Cannon. Don't forget Diane Cannon.
That photo, and I was like, wanted to tweet at Rian Johnson and be like, hey,
I see you.
For the 17 theater nerds in the crowd, your banner is a spoilie. But honestly, like, having seen the movie, I didn't, like, it was just like, whatever. It wasn't, but that's my, and now he's changed his banner. It's not that anymore. So that's my fun little.
The DVD box, the Blu-ray has a sleeve with all the knives on the poster.
Yes.
And if you put the sleeve on backwards, it shows you who the murderer is.
I saw the picture. Yeah. I haven't picked it up yet. Well, ordered it yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will.
Christopher Woodburn asks, are you all excited for Scream 5?
Doing a new Scream is interesting to me.
It is interesting, yeah. Ready or Not was good.
Yeah. And it's that vibe, that tone. Also, I was on Doug Loves Movies with those guys, and they are true blue horror fans. They really are fans of the genre, and I liked their tone and their choices in Ready or Not. So, like, I'm here for that Scream movie, I will say.
I'll give it a try. I hope it's good. I'm just feel so burned by the last Halloween one about people that were like really claiming to be into movies and into the franchise and just sort of not really getting it. But I like Scream 4 a lot. So
Scott
I did
Douglas... not go ahead, Rachel.
I did not realize that Samara Weaving was related to Hugo Weaving
until yeah, she's like his niece.
Just like a month ago when somebody said it, and I was like, what? I had no idea, but she's incredible in Ready or Not. And I was like, okay, it runs in the family because Hugo Weaving is, I love him. Yes. I love him so much.
Fairs Muthana in the chat, we have not answered all the questions from Twitter. You had 3. I'm going to pick your third one in the email that Rachel helpfully compiled for us, which is...
Especially those of us that...
Oh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That's a great
Of course pick. You would come up with an amazing pick. Yeah, well, we're all done. Mark.
Amazing.
I'm going to go hang out in Toontown.
Yeah.
I would either pick Mary Poppins or Bewitched. Like something where magical powers are involved.
Yeah, that's how you kind of want to say like MCU or something like that, because there's supernatural and there's superpowers and there's things involved with that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think like my inclination. Well, I mean, my real answer.
Harry Potter.
I mean, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
There's not as many amenities in Lord of the Rings. That's the one thing I will say about that. Like, I love the idea in theory, but Harry Potter is more real world. But there are extraordinary aspects to it,
true.
And as long as I was privy to that, then that's my choice.
Yeah, I mean, my real answer is a video game. It's Animal Crossing, where you can just like,
oh my god, this is all over my Twitter feed.
Everyone is talking about this.
We're in isolation, and I've heard about Animal Crossing 12 times.
I know.
Is this different than that Angry Goose game?
Totally different. Yeah, Animal Crossing. I described it as like video game cannabis. It's just like playing it just chills you out. It's great. Totally great. Yeah, Jonathan Gibbons says The Shire for some peace and quiet. That's the idea.
It is. I would go with Rivendell if I was picking a place in Middle Earth. You know, they've got libraries and books and waterfalls and stuff. So like that would be my choice in there. So.
Yep. It's a good time. Nate M asks, what is your most underrated movie of last year? Midsommar was top 3 of the year for me. My roommate loves Midsommar. I don't know if you heard her little woo in the background.
I heard it. Not a lot of people saw it, and just because generally speaking, not a lot of people see Terrence Malick movies, but A Hidden Life made my top
I heard that was great.
And it's long. It's a Malick movie. And it's surprisingly thin if you're talking strictly plot, but it just touched me in a way, and I was transported for the 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever it was, and I found the whole thing so touching and beautiful, and I wish a few more people had seen it. But again, I understand it's a Terrence Malick film, and not a lot of people are going to see those unless it's Tree of Life and you've got Brad Pitt and Jessica Chastain and Sean Penn to help sell the movie. So that'd be my pick.
Yeah. Commentatoring Nerd is giving a shout out to Fighting with My Family, which was
fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
So good. I will say, even though it was an Oscar nominated movie, what people know of it or have maybe heard of it now, I was shocked by the mixed reviews to Jojo Rabbit last year. I was like straight up shocked.
I must have a very big mute list on my Twitter. I do have a very big mute list on my Twitter. Because everything I saw on Twitter was Jojo Rabbit's amazing.
Yeah. I just saw a lot of people, even people that I really respect and usually love talking movies with, saying they thought it was shallow and trite and not funny and just doesn't work, and the shtick wears off, and I mean, just really coming for it. And then I went to, once the movie had like wide release, I went to Rotten Tomatoes and looked at the reviews, and it was a very mixed bag. And
Weird.
It was not only like my favorite movie of the year, but it was it was a movie. It was like a movie going
yeah.
experience that as an adult, I don't feel like I have very
Right.
often. And so it was so profoundly moving to me. And so I was shocked so I feel like it is underrated.
Yes.
The fact that it was so divisive.
I would say Honey Boy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Because
my
Honey
pick,
Boy-
Andreyko.
Honey Boy, I think people felt like, and I felt this way too, that Honey Boy was just going to be 2 hours of tragedy.
Oh, it's not.
And it's not. It's actually a love letter to his father in a very weird way.
It's so beautiful.
And the fact that Shia LaBeouf wasn't nominated for Best Original Screenplay this year
agree.
is an absolute crime, because that movie is, I just thought the movie was spectacular. And I'm not a Shia LaBeouf stan.
Is.
To sound like one of the kids. But I thought it was a deeply moving, just really, really insightful, touching movie.
Yeah, I absolutely adored Honey Boy. I thought it was just so well done. I wish that every child actor would make a movie about their sort of messed up relationship with their parents, because I felt like I had such a deeper understanding of Shia
And he made it
as
through.
a person.
I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
Because he went through the gauntlet and he did Honey Boy and Peanut Butter
Falcon is also amazing.
Yes,
and another
it's
movie
so
that
sweet.
on paper is the opposite of what I want.
Yeah.
Butter Falcon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. His relationship with that boy. Oh, so good.
Some people have pointed it out in the chat too, and I agree with this. My favorite movie of last year was Pain and Glory, but I tend not to choose foreign films because they're inevitable. I mean, unless you're Parasite, which blew the roof off.
Which I was in agreement with. I loved Parasite.
I'm fine with that. I'm agreed. But Pain and Glory was the movie that I went to see because it was Almodovar and it was Banderas, and I was like, and I walked out so enormously touched and so like transported, and just I loved it so much. And I've never considered, I like Antonio Banderas, but I would never have called him like a fantastic actor until this movie.
Speaking of Antonio Banderas, let's pivot for a second, because Mask of Zorro is on Netflix.
Oh my goodness. And
Mask
didn't
of
it just
Zorro
come out with like a new 4K
good.
thing or something? Oh no, it absolutely is.
It's legitimately good.
Yeah.
So I recently rewatched Mask of Zorro. I want to say last spring or last summer, because that was like one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched it so many times. Same. By the way, I still think that it, as the kids say, fucks. But great performances across the board. Catherine Zeta-Jones is a star. Antonio Banderas is charming and a star as well. Yep. However, sorry, that is not for effect. I just choked on my wine. However, that movie, problematic.
What, the Anthony Hopkins playing Mexican?
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but also just some other stuff in that movie. I just distinctly remember being like, this is a movie of the time that is outstanding as an action adventure romp, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Charming, funny, sexy, fast-paced, family-friendly, which
totally
is
family-friendly.
Yep. My parents took me to see it in the theater for sure, but also I was like, I don't know. Like now, how do I feel about recommending this? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, this is weird. This is very, very weird. A lot of stuff in here is weird.
You mean like the fact that the villain kidnaps? It's a little Sweetie Todd. What happens?
Colonization also of Mexico, and
I mean, that's it is weirdly about the founding of California.
It is, but also sometimes you're like, who are the heroes in this story? Who are not the heroes in this story? Like, it just was it's a little strange by today's standards. And that's not me being like PC police. It's how this movie is aged.
We have to contextualize these movies from when they're released to say, this is not cool now, but at the time this was actually kind of progressive, not as an excuse, but just to. It's like Song of the South. The fact that Song of the South isn't available is crazy to me. Whoopi Goldberg has said, "I'll do commentary. I'll put this in context." Denying these things happened is why bad things continue to happen.
100%.
Right.
Well, you look at something like A Mask of Zorro, and there are a surprising number of actual Hispanic actors in it. Now, that doesn't discount Anthony Hopkins. That's a problem for sure, but still. It's like
he's not Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's, but it's still like really there aren't 100 actors that are available for that.
And the thing is, we can't completely discount, like you were saying, we can't discount movies that were of their time, and some of them were trying to be this subversive and trying to to be racist and whatever messages they were sending, but a lot of them just weren't thinking about it in the way that we do now, and so doesn't discount what they were doing at the time. So it's like you just have to watch everything with a lens of understanding of the time as much as what is actually happening in it. Speaking of songs, it
requires you as a viewer to be engaged in your entertainment.
And brings like some intelligent thought to it. Like you cannot watch a fictional movie and be like, well, that's what happened, or that's the absolute truth of the situation, or of what it's trying to say, or anything else. Like people, use your brains is sort of the way to try to get around some of that stuff. But you can also watch stuff that came out in the 80s and cringe a little and be like, no, I can't watch Revenge of the Nerds. Like that is,
I know.
So
try watching 16 Candles.
Sometimes
even Breakfast Club is really difficult to watch.
Yeah,
it's just like, oof. And those movies shaped me and my memory of what those movies did for me as a kid. It's really hard to justify or to put these things together of what they are now. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's true. If anybody else listens to Karina Longworth as religiously as I do, she's a podcaster. She does a lot of old Hollywood stories, kind of in a gossipy way, but in a truthful way. She's done series on Jane Fonda. She's done series on Howard Hughes. She's done all this kind of stuff. And
you must remember this.
That's the one. She did a fantastic one on, help me, I've had a lot of rosé at this point. The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is about
she did an amazing thing about
her whole series. You must remember this about Charles Manson is fantastic. One of her more recent ones is about Song of the South, and she breaks down the whole Hollywood landscape of what it was like to be African American at the time, and talks about like what Disney was trying to do and what was happening with the different actors and actresses of the era. Like she is a thorough historian, but she presents it in this really kind of slightly lascivious but really entertaining way.
She did
she's Ryan Johnson's wife, which I didn't
she is Ryan Johnson's wife.
I didn't know that until very recently.
She did an amazing series on Walt Disney, or the question of, was Walt Disney a member of the Nazi Party? Or was he a Nazi sympathizer, which is like kind of a rumor that has been sort of circulated. And it was a very, very interesting, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 parts, but it was a very interesting historical look at, again, talking about context, the time period of who's making what type of propaganda, what, who could be bought, who could be sold. Like, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
To the people in the chat who are asking, the podcast main banner is called You Must Remember This, and the woman who does it is Karina Longworth. So if you search either one of those, just like an Apple podcast, you will stumble upon her. So many series. Some are just one-off, like 45-minute long, podcast about, an actor or an actress or a time period. She focuses on classic Hollywood, but I cannot recommend it enough. It's gotten me through many a long commute drives. It's really, really good.
Yeah. I think I sort of wonder, what has everyone been doing to keep yourselves occupied while we've been
curious about
stuck
that
in our houses?
Because so many people are finding that tiger thingy that you were just talking about.
Tiger King!
Tiger King. Everybody's jumping onto the new thing, but I gotta say, we haven't, instead of following or watching the new show or watching the new release or renting the movie, we're watching so many old things. We just watched Wayne's World World. We watched Scrooge today.
I love
We watched
that movie.
Die Hard. Like, we just keep watching like these old ones that we can practically quote from the couch.
Right.
I'll never forget he gave out towels in Scrooged.
Yes, we won our titles back thanks to that question.
Yes. I knew Clarke was gonna know it.
Oh yeah, no, we were both like, oh my God, we know it. They must know it.
Yes.
And they didn't know it. And,
We did think you guys were messing
We really
with us.
we thought you were messing
We were
with
like-
us.
That movie.
You don't like it or you haven't seen it?
I don't like it.
Oh, I love
love it. Yeah.
it. I watch it every Christmas season.
Same.
My favorite
Same.
Scrooge is Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
Oh my God, picking my favorite.
Yeah, my
Christmas
favorite
Carol is,
adaptation
yikes,
of Nightmare.
There's a lot.
Well,
Or Night Before Christmas.
No, Christmas
Or-
Carol.
Christmas Carol.
Carol.
Jesus Christ.
it's the
Sorry, I was
rosé.
watching
Rosé.
my cat come down the stairs.
So my book club so I'm in a horror book club, so shocking no one. And so at Christmas we read Christmas Carol. And highly recommend, by the way, Tim Curry does the Audible audiobook version. Highly recommend listening to it. It's a great listen. And I will say I was sort of shocked at how contemporary and I mean, all the tropes that not just of A Christmas Carol, the movie, but like of a lot of things really come from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I was very shocked by that. But
Dickens
that
in
said,
general.
yeah. But I will say, as far as adaptations go, because we read it during December and it was like right at the time of the Christmas season. So we were watching all the things. I really do feel like Scrooged and Muppet Christmas Carol are two of the best and closest adaptations of Charles Dickens' story. So that's just my 2 cents.
I love Muppet Christmas Carol. That's usually my go-to, I'd say.
The Zemeckis one is not bad either, the Jim Carrey
Oh,
one.
the Jim Carrey one.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate that one either.
That's an underrated film. And once again, I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan.
Agree.
And
I agree
that's
with that.
really, and him playing all the ghosts and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is just going to be 2 hours of CG masturbation. And it's a really good version of the book.
So at Madison Square Garden every year when I was growing up, I assume they still do it, but I don't actually know. They did a musical of Christmas Carol that it was music by Alan Menken and lyrics by Lynn Ahrens, who wrote the lyrics to like Ragtime and the Don Bluth animated film Anastasia.
Oh yeah. Meg Ryan.
Yeah, but anyway, so my high school English teacher, who I had sophomore year and senior year when I took AP English, Lynn Ahrens is her best friend in the world. So we also, I don't know, Rachel, if you ever listened to the Harry Potter books on tape.
Yes, of course.
So Jim Dale read them. He read the American versions. So he was playing Scrooge one year. And I had loaned those books on tape to my English teacher. So she was obsessed with him. So she got to go to their opening night party and meet him, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice.
I went and saw it. I didn't get to meet him, but I was very excited to get to see Jim Dale in Christmas Carol.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have to shout out John Mariano, who we all love, is in the chat. And he said that he just showed the girls
Romancing the Stone. Oh my God.
That's another perfect film.
Yes.
Oh my God. Joan Wilder. Like that is just
I love all your books.
Yeah, it is pouring rain in LA. Sally, you asked.
The weather has not been friendly to us.
The drug dealer who takes them in his SUV.
Yes.
He directed like Water for Chocolate.
Oh, really? Wow.
That's a 5-pointer right there.
Yeah.
That's a 10-pointer. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, Christopher Woodburn asks if you guys remember your 5-pointer against Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
I was just writing him back. What was it?
It was the Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Was it the Fool's Gold question?
That was all Ghost of Girlfriend.
No, it wasn't Fool's Gold.
That was me. Yeah.
That was all Rachel.
Yeah. Because they had the Treadstone question from Bourne for their 5-pointer. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking that was pretty easy given how huge those movies were. But it's all relative. That's how we play this game. But
Yep.
it still goes down.
That's what we love about the Schmodown.
That's what we love and hate about the Schmodown.
Yeah.
That's still the props to Riley and Bateman that's still one of the best matches I've ever personally played, and just generally speaking, one of the ones I look back on.
It was Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. That was the movie.
That was the answer to our 5-pointer.
Yes.
Yep.
I knew it was some.
Well, Matthew McConaughey did that string of romantic comedies that nobody remembers, like until he had his whole reconnaissance kind of situation.
Yeah, like the Keanu Sans in which we currently live.
I'm happy to live in that world.
I feel like it's Keanu Sans Part 2, though.
That's true, because he kind of came back with The Matrix.
Yeah.
And then he went away again, and then he came back again with like all this John Wick stuff. But honestly, okay, again, wine. So what was the Netflix romantic comedy with Ali Wong and
Always Be My Maybe?
Always Be My Maybe.
Always Be My Maybe.
Always Be My Maybe. The best part of that was Keanu Reeves, right?
I loved the whole movie, but that was a real highlight.
Totally got
part of that movie.
It totally got me. Like I loved it. I came to it late, and so I had seen, Keanu is great. Keanu is great, and I was like, okay.
You're
and
like,
then
whatever. He can't.
I
whatever.
saw it, and I mean, I love a Keanu, but I was like, okay. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, this was this
it
got
was
me.
Great.
This totally got me.
So good.
I
want that Keanu to meet the Neil Patrick Harris from the Harold and Kumar movies.
I like that.
Yeah. I loved Always Be My Maybe. I felt very represented by Ali Wong's character, who was very serious and very career driven. And I really liked it.
It was just nice to see sort of a little more of a female driven. It's equal. Romantic comedies are supposed to be equal, but they're not always. And and to see, like you said, we could see ourselves in that character a lot more than Pretty Women. I love it.
Oh, totally.
But I can't really relate to it necessarily.
Well, and circling back to
really. You don't?
No, sorry. Can't. No.
That's how I got my first agent. He was
okay. I mean, whatever, Rachel. Okay.
Let's go, Dream.
Yeah. Oh, I'm engaged now. I don't relate to Pretty Woman.
No, but I was gonna say, circling back to some of the questions we were talking about earlier, like underrated films of last year. And I was singing the praises of the television show Sex Education on Netflix, and how watching that show, I go, oh, this is like actually how teenagers are. This is how I was as a teenager. I felt the same way watching the movie Booksmart. I felt so represented, particularly by Beanie Feldstein's character in that movie. Because like, I was that person. The scene where she's running around asking everybody where they got into college. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
I was that person. Yeah, it was great.
I haven't watched.
A good year for a movie.
Last year was a great.
It was a great year for movies.
Really
I haven't
so
watched Booksmart yet. I can't wait. I'm excited to, but I did watch Blockers last year, which again, like super late. I was so late to the party, but that was one that I definitely related to. Like I was like, these are good girls, but they're also girls. They're teenagers. They're like fully formed people, believe it or not. And
you'll love Booksmart, Clarke.
Yeah.
So
I think
Simon from Love Simon.
That's
Love Simon.
Love Simon is absolutely a John Hughes fantasy movie.
Yeah.
But I love that there's a now gay kids have their own romantic.
Yep, they have. Yep.
Movies that it was an idealized version, and the parents and stuff. But movies are supposed to be idealized, and that movie's gonna give so many kids hope. And I remember Ben Bateman and I had a long discussion about it. Ben Bateman,
he loves that movie.
He's like I cried like the whole movie, and I love that most of the straight people I know like that movie more than I do, and that's awesome because representation. I mean, we saw this with Wonder Woman, we see it with Black Panther, we saw it with Miles Morales. representation, just appearing once, empowers you so much. It makes you feel so not alone.
If you can see it, you can be it. That's the whole.
It's so true.
Yeah. And if you actually want to watch a Greg Berlanti, a gay film that he did, the first film Greg Berlanti ever directed was called The Broken Hearts Club, and it's sort of this ensemble film. It's Timothy Olyphant, Dean Cain, John Mahoney, Neil Long. It's a really great, funny comedy.
Yeah.
I also was going to mention, as far as like contemporary rom-coms, I loved To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I really did feel like that was like John Hughes, but somebody who loved John Hughes, but who lives in a very modern time.
Yes.
Making a movie that was like, okay, and here's what this would probably look like now, right? So we're going to course correct a little. We're going to like improve on some stuff, but we're still going to have the heart and the jokes. And I still haven't watched the sequel. It's funny because Emma, you asked a while ago, like, what have we been up to? And I thought that I was going to be watching so much stuff, but honestly, like, I've been, you know, working from like on my own things, but I've also been organizing and I've been exercising and I've been exercising too. And I've been going to sleep at a reasonable hour and getting rested. And so I haven't caught up on all the content that I feel like maybe I should have caught up on at this point.
Yeah.
You can't play that game anymore, even with the situation we're in.
I know.
Like, the list of things everybody should be watching is so freaking enormous
giant
that like I've stopped. I'm like, I will watch it if it seems something kind of interesting to me, but I'm not going to get pressured into this.
So I had started to try and watch His Dark Materials on HBO.
I really disliked the pilot.
Oh, really? I
did not
thought
like
the pilot
it.
was fine. I didn't like love it. I was like,
I
like it. I think Daphne Keane is well cast as Lyra.
She was.
But I am having, at the time anyway, it may have changed now that I've settled a little more into this, but I was having a hard time. It wasn't just that, it was anything. I was having a hard time with it keeping my attention.
Yeah.
I found it a lot more stress relieving to play video games where I had to participate in the media that I was consuming, which is kind of what led me to start streaming on Twitch. So I've really honestly just been playing a lot of video games because...
Have you guys watched I Am Not Okay With This?
Yes, I loved I Am Not Okay With This.
Don't spoil it because somebody just told me I need to watch it. I haven't started. I think I will too.
Will blow your mind. And boy, oh boy, are Sophia Lillis and Wyatt Olaf. I can't wait to see them as adults.
They're great actors.
Such good actors.
Yeah.
Wyatt Olaf is a revelation in that movie because he's playing the John Cryer character, but he's playing such a real three-dimensional person.
Yep.
It's that show, and each episode's like 22 minutes long. It's really, really, really a joy.
My roommate and I watched the entire thing in one sitting.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours altogether.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same, it's based on the same graphic novel by the guy that did End of the Fucking World.
Yeah.
Same writer.
Oh, I know him. I've met him. It's
I was like, Rachel's like, we got brunch a couple weeks ago before.
No. I used to work with this, but it's Charles Foreman, right? That wrote them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, his brother Zach and I worked at the same company years ago together, and Charles was just at the time starting to write, and like he had some things going, but nothing had really taken off. And then all of a sudden, in the last handful of years, I'm like, oh wait, no, Charles wrote that, and like it's just, and you get one thing up there, and then they just want more content from you, and he's clearly.
I Am Not Okay With This. The graphic novel is substantially different than the show.
Yeah, interesting.
There's sort of an inevitability with that these days.
Yeah.
It seems like.
I felt like with I Am Not Okay With This, it was this fun. It was Carrie-esque, but there was also like an X-Men element to it.
You throw X-Men in the mix, and I'm always there.
I loved it.
All right,
totally
it's on
kept
the
my
list.
attention.
Did you guys ever watch the British show Misfits?
Yes, I did.
The first 3 seasons of that show are fantastic.
Yeah,
it's about a bunch of kids who are doing work release program stuff in London, and they all get superpowers. And it's from what, about 10 years ago now? 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, I think it is about 10 years old at this point.
That and the original Being Human, the British one.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I actually didn't dislike the American version. I watched it for a little while, but I didn't watch it a ton. But yeah.
The American one is definitely the American version of that, but the British one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So have you guys watched, like, I tend to, especially the two of us together, because like fiction wise we don't always agree on the stuff that we want to watch, but so we'll watch nonfiction things a lot. And has anybody else watched HBO's McMillions?
No,
I can't recommend it enough.
I heard it's amazing.
Like, it's when we watched it week to week, so we every like Monday night we were like, it always ends on a cliffhanger. And for a non-scripted like it's a documentary, so it really happened. So you're just like, wait, what? I gotta wait 7 days for this. It's like old school watching television, how we used to watch it growing up, and nowadays in the binge, so you guys get to binge it, and I'm kind of jealous about that. But it's 6 episodes, 1 hour episodes, and it's about the story about who rigged the McDonald's Monopoly game. And it's done so well as an editor. Like, the editing is so good. And these people that they interviewed, like the main FBI guy that like came up with the idea to pursue this whole thing, he's like a character in a movie. You can't believe that he's actually a person. He's that engrossing and interesting and crazy and good. And like, you have to think that the documentarians who like stumbled upon the story, which is interesting in and of itself, but then started interviewing the people involved and went, holy shit, these are like a movie good. Like, they're just that crazy. It's well worth your 6 hours. We highly recommend it.
I mean, Anthony Gonzalez was asking for documentary recommendations. Obviously, Tiger King. Amazing. Yes. If you haven't watched the Fire Festival documentaries, both are excellent, and it's worth watching both.
Some of these are dark, but The Keepers is a really great documentary. The one about the little boy, the trials of, it's on Netflix now, that little boy in Los Angeles who his mother and her boyfriend beat him to death.
Oh God, I haven't watched that one.
Not a fun documentary, but it's really powerful. And there's one called The Devil Next Door that is really great. When I was growing up in Cleveland in the 80s, there was a guy named John Demjanjuk, and he was terrible. He was a death camp guard from Treblinka, I think. And he was brought back to Israel and put on trial. And this is an amazing 5-hour documentary about that, because there's still some people who doubt it. Could it be him because of the records and stuff? But thank God for Netflix and HBO. Or they're the steady stream of interesting documentaries from them is just spectacular.
If you're at all into James Bond, it's not on Netflix anymore, but I think you can still like rent it on Amazon Prime. Everything or Nothing is so good and so interesting. And then the newest Ted Bundy documentary that's on Prime, which is called Falling for a Killer.
Girlfriend and daughter.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really well done.
Another thing that came out last year that's only 6 episodes, Years and Years, that was on HBO. Is that
the Movies by the Decade thing?
No, Years and Years. It's about a British family, and it takes place in the near future. It's Russell Tovey and Rory Kinnear from Penny Dreadful, but it's and Emma Thompson's in it, and she plays basically the Donald Trump of the British Parliament. And it's 5 episodes.
I remember this now.
That. Yeah,
more happens in 1 episode of that show than in 30 seasons of anything else. And there will only ever be 5 episodes this season. It was not Russell Davies. It was the other one, the other Doctor Who guy, Donald Moffat, Stephen Moffat.
Stephen Moffat. Yeah.
Yes.
He didn't, the one that didn't do Dracula did this one. This one's great, and it's spectacular stuff. But he said that it's only 1 season. They'll never be able to get that cast back together, and it's something you can binge watch very easily. Yeah. And it's Emma Thompson. She makes everything good.
I love Emma Thompson. She's also super nice. I'm happy to confirm.
Oh, it's always happy when I hear that stuff.
I will love to meet her.
Yeah. I did background on Saving Mr. Banks. I worked several days on that movie, and she was so cool. Between every take, her assistant brought her slippers because she hated wearing her heels. But I remember we were filming scenes at the entrance of Disneyland, and so she was in the car that they were getting shots of Paul Giamatti driving, who's also lovely. And I remember her looking out the window, and I was right by the car, and she looked right over at the group I was with, and she's like, and after this, time for lunch. She was super cool. Yeah, she was great.
Ugh.
Yep. So
like
if you watch
everything I
Saving
want.
Mr. Banks, I don't know if you can see me the airport scenes, though I filmed a couple of them, but you can definitely see me in some of the Disneyland scenes. Yeah.
You want a classic, an underrated Emma Thompson movie, Dead Again.
So good.
Yes.
So good.
Dead Again is the Hitchcock movie Brian De Palma has been trying to make his entire career. Robin Williams, Campbell Scott, Derek Jacobi. It's so good. Andy Garcia, and the twist is so smart. Oh, such a good movie. I just rewatched that a couple days ago, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so to wrap things up here, because we've been streaming for like 2 hours, so thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us all this time. This has been lovely.
But this is what we do when we...
Okay, so here's a great question. Where is it? Okay. This is from at Ironic Rebel, Lau Castro, AZ, so maybe Arizona, or just as. If the Fyffe Club made a movie together, what type of movie would it be?
I think it would be an adventure comedy.
Yeah, adventure comedy.
I think like Romancing the Stone or the North Avenue Irregulars.
Yeah.
Or you guys would be a girl group and I'd be your manager.
Oh, like a Josie and the Pussycat style.
Wait, what were you gonna say, Rachel?
I mean, it's just because we all like lean towards real like crazy genre stuff. So like a horror, sci-fi, like
that's what I was thinking was a horror
alien-esque
like
kind
the
of
faculty.
thing.
Yes,
The Faculty.
there it is. Yeah, something along those lines. Well, we could
Because
subvert.
it would have to be fun. It would have to have
Agreed.
Yeah.
And it has to have rosé and certain,
Yes.
Here we go. Schmo Dawn of the Dead.
Oh wait, somebody else asked us which one of us would survive a zombie apocalypse, and I'm the first to say
let me find the exact question because it's
if
very
somebody
good.
did that.
Well, all four of us
It wasn't who would survive.
I would not survive
It
a
was
zombie apocalypse.
how would each member of the Fyffe Club survive
That's
the
the
zombie
problem.
apocalypse?
Yeah, I would hide.
I have always actually
I
wanted
would go
to
upstairs
write
because zombies can't go upstairs.
upstairs. Yeah. I've had kicking around in my head for a long time a zombie apocalypse comedy that is about people surviving on the backlot of a movie studio, because at Universal we have emergency supplies stashed all over the backlot, and I, as an employee, know where they are.
Aha. So basically, if we stick with Emma,
Yeah.
then we might actually survive this.
Yeah. So I always
I think-
envisioned.
I think the key to survival is a good combination.
It is. It's a good combo.
Probably true.
You could Voltron and survive a zombie apocalypse.
The Fyffe Club
yeah.
would survive the zombie
Yes.
apocalypse.
Exactly.
Together we could do it.
Together
Okay.
we are stronger.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
All right.
exactly
And we
right.
would educate the survivors about movies.
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
we have plenty of useless.
Obviously, whole Fyffe Club were there, but
Mhm.
I do feel like when Rachel freaks out, I try to stay calm, and when I'm freaking out, Rachel tries to stay calm. So
Good point.
it's like a Captain Planet effect with our
Yeah.
powers combined.
Yes,
We have
I
a
like it.
fighter on the zombie apocalypse. So I think we'd all be in good shape if the Fyffe Club got together.
Yeah, if we were
I think
together,
that
we
is
would
a great
crush it.
answer.
Totally
Yep.
crush it.
Okay.
So somebody's asking Haskell 420, is this going to be a weekly show? I'm up for that.
Yeah, if you guys are gonna show up, we're down.
I mean,
I-
what the hell else do we have to
I know.
do?
I was like, I'll fix Clark's
It gives us
lower
something
third
to
for
look
next
forward
time.
to.
Yes, we'll get the wolf with an E.
Yes.
Nope.
The real things that are important right now.
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
so many problems
It's the
in
little
the world,
things.
but you know what? Solve that one.
That's
That
one we
is-
can solve.
that's
That's the
something I can
thing.
control.
That's what we
Cross it off
can.
the list.
Yes.
Done.
Yep. It can be done.
Yeah.
No, I miss you guys so much, so I would do this as much as often as we possibly could.
Yeah. No, I love you guys. I love you ladies, and thank you, Emma, for organizing this.
Yes, thank you. Tech savvy, Emma.
I feel like I've had a spa day. This has been so relaxing, and it's been so nice
fun.
to
And also, just in case you guys were wondering, Rufus has crawled back into his corner, which is a good sign. So he's doing good. Sorry for the disruption.
We're just glad he's okay.
Clarke, do you have episodes of Sending the Wolf coming out or anything?
Okay,
you want to
plug? So the podcast is still on hiatus. It's on hiatus indefinitely, but there are 60 episode featuring all three people you see in this chat. So at least start there. And thank you to Sally Mercedes, who's in our chat. She was a wonderful Patreon supporter of mine, and I'm sure there were a handful of others who maybe have come and gone. But I decided, I came up with an idea while I was getting ready tonight, which I got so ready. But I came up with an idea that I'm going to start doing probably tomorrow on Instagram. So if they're not following me on Instagram, please, that's just my tagline. You know this.
I do. It's like
I love you guys.
I love you too, Clarke.
And thanks to all the fans who came in and joined us.
Yeah, you guys are great.
We are all in this shitty thing together, so
we sure are.
This is what Schmoedown community is about. So this is nice to see us all getting together and just being chill and goofy and awesome.
Yeah. Island and helps me make the few important decisions that you have to make. So yeah, if you guys want to throw that on, that's super fun. We've also been doing Fire Emblem Three Houses, which has been super fun to experience that story with an audience. So we're not done with that either. So again, twitch.tv/EmmaFyffe. You can find
I have one last recommendation.
Yeah.
I talked to the ladies about this before we went on. Tuesday night, 9:30, after the newest episode of Schitt's Creek on Pop, One Day at a Time comes back.
Yes.
And if you have not watched One Day at a Time,
it's unbelievable.
I believe, or first 3 seasons, are still on Netflix. It is the best written, best acted. You will laugh, you will cry, and you will laugh
so
more.
Good.
It is so good. I guarantee you, try One Day at a Time. It will warm your heart.
You'll love it.
Especially right now. You'll feel like you're sitting with your family. It's so good. And I have nothing to do with it.
No.
I have no horse in this race other than being a fan.
But you recommended it to me, and then I watched it, and I'm blown away by how much I love it. It's just so well done. So well done.
And it needs the love.
It does. Yeah.
No, it's lovely that it got this second chance to have another season anyway. So that's really cool. I love that.
And it's after another amazing show.
Each episode's like 22 minutes long. You can watch it in bits and pieces. You will love it. It is such a good show.
Yep. And remember, if you go to streamlabs.com/EmmaFyffe, I do have that set up. If you want to donate, we're not asking for that by any stretch of the imagination. We just did this because we wanted to hang out with each other, and we also thought it would be nice for you guys out there to feel a little less alone in this really weird, isolating time that we're going through. Again, I started streaming on my Twitch channel last Monday, and I cannot imagine my life without it at this point, quite frankly. It has been such a relief to me. So thank you to those of you that are in the chat who've also showed up to my streams, because it really is helping to keep me sane. So it's so nice to see you all and just connect with everybody.
Yeah, it's about feeling connected, and that's something we can control amidst all of this stuff that we can't control right now. So everybody be safe and take care of yourselves. And we're all on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. And the Schmoedown, there's still matches dropping. Sam and I are hoping to be on Schmoedown backstage this week, so hopefully we'll see some of you there. Thank you for all the congratulations as well. I know it came as a shock to a lot of the fans that we were even dating, let alone just got engaged, but we're pretty private about it. But it warms us both to know that so many people are happy for us. So thank you.
See that ring?
I got a ring.
Yeah, the ring is beautiful.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And
we really appreciate you all. Yeah,
Stay
we'll do
safe.
this again.
Stay calm.
Yeah.
Be
We'll do it again.
kind to
Yeah.
each other.
Thank you.
Stay safe
Yeah,
out
be
there.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Good
Much love
night.
to you all.
Ladies, love you.
Good luck.
Bye.